Hello students, my name is Irfan. You may call me Fanny. First of all, I will introduce the subject, the course, then I will let you know about the rules and regulations. Then I will briefly explain the assessment procedure, and finally I will start my first lecture of this course. Right? Let's start from introducing the subject. The name of the subject is Auditing, Principle of Auditing, and Other Assurance Services. The first chapter of this course is about the role of the public accountant in the American economy. The role of CPA. CPA. It may be an individual and it may be a firm, right? In the first lecture, we will discuss about assurance services. We will talk about artist function. We will talk about the difference between assurance and non-assurance services. We will also discuss the demand for auditing and different stages of auditing, right? In this lecture, in this chapter, we will also discuss different financial crises of 2008. We will also talk about Enron, and we will also talk about WorldCom. These are the two major financial scandals in 21 and 22. In chapter number 1, we will also discuss the types of audits, and at the end we will talk about different public accounting professions. Chapter number 2 is about 3 important standards. Standard number 1 is AICPA, American Institute of Certified Public Accountant. The second one is PCAOB Auditing Standards, and the third one is International Standards. We will discuss these 3 types of standards in chapter number 2. Chapter number 3 is about professional ethics. In this, we will discuss the nature of ethics. We will discuss different dilemma of ethics, and we will also talk about the professional codes of professional conduct which are related to ethics, right? In chapter number 4, we will discuss the liability of CPA. Then we will talk about the scope of the CPA liability and sources of CPA liability, and also the liabilities to their client and under common law, right? We will also discuss the 1933 and 1934 acts based on these liabilities, right? And finally, in chapter number 4, we will also discuss different related topics, right? So remember, chapter number 4 is about liability of CPAs, certified public accountants, right? Chapter number 5 is about audit evidence and documentation. Remember, there are different types of evidences, and to find these evidences, the auditors or the CPA perform different procedures, right? So in this chapter, we will discuss about the relationship between the relationship among audit risk, audit evidence, and financial statement assertion, right? We will also talk about audit risk at the account balance, class of transactions, or disclosure level. We will discuss audit evidence, procedures, which are maybe in substantive area, and audit documentation. And in the last, we will discuss different types of working papers. So remember that chapter number 5 is about evidence and then their documentation, right? Chapter number 6 is about audit planning, understanding the clients, and then assessing the risk, and then responding, right? We will discuss about audit process, obtaining clients, how to deal with the clients, and how to get the clients, how to convince the clients, planning the audit, how to plan the audit, and how to discuss the planning with the clients, obtaining and understanding the client and its environment. And we will also discuss different other related topics. So remember, chapter number 6 is about client, right? Client may be a company, client may be an individual. We will discuss this in detail. Next one is internal control. Chapter number 7 is about internal control. We will discuss the meaning of internal control. We will discuss its environment. We will discuss the financial audit and the role of internal control and other related topics. So, chapter number 7 is about internal control. Chapter number 8 is about consideration of internal control in the information technology. In this, we will combine, or we will find the relationship between internal control and how it affects information technology, right? We will discuss the nature of IT-based system, various types of IT-based system, organizational structure of the IS function, computer-based fraud, and control activities in IT system. So chapter number 8 is about IT plus internal control. Chapter number 9 is about audit sampling. From here, the procedures will start. It means how you will select how you will choose the sampling, what will be the sampling methods, right? Here we will talk about comparison of statistical and non-statistical sampling, selecting random sampling, types of statistical sampling plan, sampling risk, and audit sampling for test of control. We will also discuss different related topics in this chapter. Chapter number 10 is related to cash and financial investment. We will discuss sources of and nature of cash. We will talk about the auditor objectives in auditing cash. We will also talk about internal control over cash transactions and then financial investment. We will also cover different topics in chapter number 10. Chapter number 11 is about account receivables, note receivables, and revenue. We will talk about receivables. We will explain the auditor objectives in auditing, receivables, and revenue, and we will also discuss revenue cycle. So from chapter number 10, which is about cash, chapter number 11, which is about account receivables, chapter number 12, which is about CGS, cost of goods sold, chapter number 13, which is about fixed assets, property, plant, and equipment. Chapter number 14 is about account payable and other liabilities. Chapter number 15 is about debt and equity capital. And chapter number 16 is about auditing operation and completing the audits. Remember chapter number 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10. When you understand chapter number 10, then it will be very easy for you to understand chapter number 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, right? Chapter number 16 is about auditing operations and completing the audit. The auditor's approach to auditing operations, substantive procedures for selling, general and administrative expenses, internal control over payroll, and audit plan for payroll, and some other topics. Chapter number 17 is about auditor reports. For example, financial statement and standard unmodified audit reports, the auditor's standard report, non-public clients, expression of an opinion, and modified opinion. We will discuss these topics in chapter number 17. In chapter number 18, we will discuss about integrated audits of public companies. I will briefly explain integrated audits in chapter number 1. Chapter number 19 is about additional assurance services, historical financial information. We will discuss audit-based services, assurance on additional informations, auditing financial statements that use financial reporting framework other than GAAP, additional gas audits, and review of historical financial statement. Chapter number 20 is about additional assurance services and other information. We will discuss assurance services, the demand for assurance services, attestation standards, the character of the engagement, and prime plus elder care services. I will briefly explain these services in the learning outcome 2 of the chapter 1. And the last chapter is about internal, operational, and compliance auditing. In this, we will discuss internal auditing, the internal auditor's role in Sarbanes-Oxley compliance, and objectives of the operational audit, right? And some other related topic. So this is the short introduction of the different chapters that we will discuss during this course.